Okay. So just to recap where we are. So I was driving to a Tanya class last night, and my daughter Manucha, she's 13, she's in the eighth grade. So for her this year, she's in a new school. She's having a Tanya test today, and in school she learned Perek Dalid, and they had a test in Perek Dalid. And today there's a test from Aleph through Dalid because these girls, they had the same teacher the year before, last year. And last year they learned Aleph through Gimel. So now the teacher wants them to review everything together. So she calls me at 9 o'clock. I'm on my way to the class, and she says, "What does it mean that Chachma and Bina give birth to emotions?" So she's asking me, and she's studying with a friend. So I said to her, I gave her a few examples, which she loved, all thanks to the Tanya that we're learning now. So basically, I said that the way human beings operate is first we have our brain, we understand with our brain, then we have emotion, and then we have action. So the more you think about something, the more emotion you'll feel. For example, the dentist. Okay, so the more you know in advance that the appointment is coming, and the more anxious you are, and the more you think about it, the more fear you develop, and then you're kicking and screaming, whatever it is. So I gave her that example. So she said, like, what about like if you're anticipating, if you're looking forward to a birthday or a trip or whatever it is. So the more you think about it, the more excited you get, and the more you prepare for it. So that's the regular way that human beings operate. The problem is that or the problem is, or the what we're discussing is that sometimes the emotion piece is missing. A person could think about something and they don't develop a real emotion for it. So when we're talking about Torah mitzvahs, Hashem does a favor, and if you have a good thought process, which we call tivuna, then Hashem is going to attach it to your action. Because the gap between understanding and action is too far. For example, you could read an article, and the article says that you should really how terrible cell phones are. And when your kids come home from school, at least that time, those few hours, you should put your phone away. So it makes a lot of sense. And you might even, and while your kids are home, you might even WhatsApp that article to other people, but you don't actually do it because I could understand it, I could repeat it, I could appreciate it, but it doesn't necessarily make me actually put my phone away. So when so you really need that emotion piece. Um, you usually need that emotion piece, or always need that emotion piece to get the action done. Um, but if I don't have the emotion piece, when it comes to Torah mitzvahs, Hashem does us a favor. And if we contemplate as best as we can, Hashem will attach it to the action and kind of bridge the gap between the understanding and the action.
If there's no emotion, then why are we doing action?
Only because Hashem is helping us. Only because Hashem is helping us. And last week we asked in the class, you asked, what does it mean contemplation? Is it a fleeting thought? Or is it, sitting down and contemplating? So the answer to that is that not always do I have the 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes to sit and contemplate about what I should do. But as human beings, throughout our life, when we go to a class, or when we learn in school, or when we learn from our parents, or whatever, wherever we're gaining our inspiration from, we develop certain truths. We develop certain principles. We develop certain values, which we fall back on when we have a split second, amount of time to make a decision. So yes, contemplation means real contemplation. The difference between contemplation and meditation is where your mind is relaxing, and contemplation is where your mind is working. So it's hard work. It's hard work to contemplate, and I could contemplate and kind of like put the understanding in a bank account that I could go to when I need it.
What is that?
Yeah. Okay. I know, because I know it was a hot discussion last week. Okay. So where are we up to? Ach tzeruf zeh. It's towards the end of the para. Does anyone need help finding? It's literally the last couple of lines.
It's the beginning of it.
What is it? Oh,
Yeah. Are you on?
Ach tzeruf zeh mitzav HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Yeah, it's the third to last paragraph. It's not. The third to last paragraph on Chabad. You sure we're up to this? I don't know why.
Okay. We're not here? Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe I'm making a mistake. Okay.
That's where we were.
No, we were before.
Oh, you're right. We are before that.
Because I was on page 7 when it reopened.
Okay.
Now I'm on page 10.
Okay, so after Ella Ha'inyan, how about that? Okay, sorry about that. Because see, it says the words Machshava Teva Kazrach Mitzvah Lamaisa twice, so that's why I got confused. Okay, I apologize. Okay, we're going to Ella. Okay, so we asked last time, the question was, there's our rabbis say Machshava Teva Kazrach Mitzvah Lamaisa, a good thought, God links it to action. And we said that the sages should have said a good thought, Hashem considers it as if you did it. So we're going to learn now that a good thought is not a good intention, but it means a good thought process called tevuna, the contemplation that we've been talking about. So that's where we left off in the Hebrew. Ella ha'inyan. Towards the end of the parak. Ella ha'inyan ki dechilu rachimu.
Says page 7. Yeah, is that the explanation, however lies?
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. Ella inyan, because the question is, why does it say Machshavat Teva, that Hashem links it to action? Why doesn't the verse say that Hashem considers the action done? Ella inyan, the answer is ki dechilu urechimu. Dechilu means fear and rechimu means love. These are Aramaic words. Ki dechilu urechimu shebezgalus libai, the love and fear that are revealed in his heart. So first of all, we have to understand what it means, something that's revealed in your heart. We all have many, many emotions, but not all the emotions are revealed in the heart at the same time. And sometimes we on purpose, like again, going to the dentist, right? If a child is afraid of going to the dentist, that's the emotion that's bizgalosly, but that's revealed in his heart. So what do? You distract them. So an emotion, we all have emotions. We all love our children. When we're sitting in a Tanya class, we're not necessarily thinking about the people that we love. Because yes, it's an emotion that's 100% there, but it's not always bizgalosly revealed in the heart at this current present moment. But we all have plenty of emotions. So here it's saying the love and fear that is revealed in your heart, heim hamislabshim, they seep in, b'maisa hamitzvah, into the mitzvah, la'chayosam, to give them life, lefarcha le'ela, to make them rise. And we said last time, we gave an example that a kid could be too exhausted to help clear the table on Friday night, but the second you say dessert, all of a sudden they're there. Why? La'chayosam. When you have love and fear, then you're full of life. You can wake up. It doesn't matter if it's midnight. The ice cream is ice cream. Okay. So that when you have love and fear and love, that's revealed in your heart, and they seep into the mitzvah to give it life, to make it rise, to make it fly up. And why is it that love and fear, welcome, why is that love and fear are going to have such an impact to make your mitzvah rise high? Why is it? Ki halev, because the heart, hu gam kein chumri, it's chumrious, it's materialistic, physical, yes, it's physical. Kishar evarim, like all the other limbs, shehem klei hamaisa, that are tools of action. The heart is very similar to all the other physical organs of the body. heart versus brain, relatively speaking. If you ask, what's the difference between a cardiologist and a neurologist? If you ask a neurologist what's the difference between a neurologist and a cardiologist, he's going to say that a cardiologist is just a very fancy plumber because a heart ultimately is just a pump.
It's mechanical versus the brain is what?
The brain is an incredible computer that we don't get. A cardiologist knows every single part of the heart and how it functions and how it works and what has to happen. And as a matter of fact, if a person has heart failure or heart condition or whatever it is, you could do a heart transplant, you could put a fake heart, you could put someone on a machine to do the function of the heart. But versus a brain, you ask a neurologist, a good neurologist will tell you, you have no idea how the brain works. It's much, and every few years, some sign, they'll come out with, something about the brain. And a person can have brain surgery, and then a part of the brain that wasn't working all of a sudden starts working. It's a mystery. The brain is a mystery. So there has to be, the brain is very, very far from action. There has to be a bridge.
Action can happen without it. Brain directly causes action.
Right. So yes, the brain is the one that is controlling everything 100%, 100%. But what I mean by that is that just because I understand it in the brain doesn't mean that it's going to come into action because it's too far apart. It's too far apart
We always said
in the
after,
sense,
the cognition draws the action.
but the cognition draws the emotion, which draws the action. You need the heart. You need the heart first. So there has to be a bridge. The distance between the brain and the action is too far apart. With the distance between the brain and the action is too far apart, and you need something in between, intermediary, something in between that could relate to the organs, to the rest of the body, and yet it's still very very special and very integral and that could also relate to the brain. When we say I love in my heart, I love you with all my heart, right? And everyone could say that, but the truth is that your heart is just a pump. You have feelings that are expressed in your heart because your heart's job is that when you feel afraid or when you feel excited, to pump more blood. When you realize that there's an emergency, there's a danger, the heart has to work harder to get you to safety. So the heart is responding to the feeling, and the feeling is
It's a visceral feeling. It's called visceral. It's like a vagal nerve. It's all comes from the brain.
yes,
It's from the brain. So it's a brain. It's from the brain.
yes.
Mechanically, it comes from
Yeah,
the
the
brain
brain,
and
the
the heart.
vagal nerve is sympathetic, and then it's,
Emotions are.
it's emotions are in the brain. The amygdala holds emotions, and right. So the
And it's expressed in the heart. And then once it's expressed in the heart, because the heart is so similar to the rest of the organs of the body, therefore it affects you and you start running.
So if you're not having the emotion, you're not gonna run.
If you're not going to have the fear, you're not going to run.
The heart's not gonna pump fast, you're not gonna run.
Right. Right.
Even if you understand the danger.
that's like what
I could understand that smoking is bad. I can understand that eating 600 cookies is bad. But the question is, how much could I get away with? How many cookies could I get away with? How many cigarettes could I get away with? But just because I know it's bad doesn't mean that I'm going to quit smoking or that I'm going to quit eating junk food. You have to.
Plus there's emotional response.
Yeah, I'm saying I'm saying me personally in my life, I have varicose veins. I'm supposed to wear special stockings, and I wasn't. I know that I should. I come to the doctor said, if you don't wear those stockings, then you're going to be in big trouble. She scared me. And trust me, ever since then.
Will be that.
Yeah,
But it doesn't have to be fear.
It's an emotion. It's an emotion.
yeah. I wasn't doing it. It takes 10 minutes. I don't have time, whatever it is. But I had something had to touch the emotion in order for me to actually do it. You see, we're so busy running that we don't even realize the process of what's happening. But because the heart and the heart is basically the bridge in between the mind and the action, and because the heart is an organ, just like it's a muscle, it's pumping like every other organ, therefore it could have such an incredible impact on the action that you actually do whatever it is. So when the heart is when the heart is excited, or when the heart when the emotion is expressed in the heart, then all of a sudden you're running, or you're doing, or you're whatever it is that you need to do. Okay. Ella shehu pnimi b'chayis lahem. This heart, it's not just the organ, because it's actually transcends and surpasses the other limbs because of its complexity and how central it is and how integral it is. And if the heart stops pumping, the person is not alive anymore. So it's very integral. The heart is very integral. But at the same time, it's also very physical. And that's why it could relate so well to other organs, and that's why it could propel the organs, and that's why it could propel the action to go up. We're going to discuss what that means in a minute, because it's similar to the other organs. And therefore, the emotions could dress in them, in the action. To be wings to carry this mitzvah up. So usually the process is when I have real fear and love, and it's expressed in the heart, and the heart could relate to the rest of the limbs of the body, then it propels the person to action, and it makes you excited. However, the love and the fear, that is in the contemplation of your brain, the tevuna that you did, the contemplation that you did, the talumos libai, and hidden in your heart. And so basically, because when you got tevuna, which is you tried the best that you could to contemplate the greatness of Hashem, but the fear and love that you got from that contemplation is hidden in the brain and in the heart, and it's like we explained before. And gavu darcheim l'mayla m'chinas hamaisa, and this tevuna is much loftier and removed from the sphere of action. V'efshar lahem, and it's not possible for them. It's not possible for the tevuna lehislabesh to clothe itself b'chinas ma'aseh mitzvahs, to clothe itself into the physical mitzvah. Liyos lahem b'chinas meichin v'chayis, in order to be the knowledge and the energy to make your mitzvah rise. So the tevuna by itself, it's not possible. It says ef shalahem. It's not possible for the tevuna that you mustered to be able to affect your action, to be the knowledge and the chayis and the vitality, and to be the wings. Because we said that tevuna gives you three things. That when you contemplate on the greatness of Hashem as much as you can, you get three things. We said you get knowledge, you get brains, you get chayis, and you get wings. But here it's saying that it's impossible it's impossible. The tevuna can't do that. Im loy shakadosh baruch hu mitzarfan umechabron levchinas hamaiseh. Usually, naturally, it would be impossible. If not, it would be impossible if not for the fact that Hashem links them and connects them to the action.
Lacking the emotion.
Yes.
No.
So when we're not even conscious of it, but when it comes when it's time to daven chakras, so when you have a few minutes to daven chakras and you really don't want to do it, and you do it anyway, you force yourself to open up the siddur and to say the words, whether you could concentrate or not concentrate. What's the process? How did that happen?
Probably happens a million times a day. Every time you make a bracha, anytime. It's not with tevuna, it's not with serious contemplation. It's just
it's with the tevuna.
No, but there's zero emotion involved. But she's saying you need emotion to drive action.
Maybe you're afraid to the right thing.
Okay, so there's two issues here. So there's two things here. Number one, when I force myself to do a mitzvah, I'm not talking about doing it like a robot. I'm talking about I'm conscious.
Trying your best to
I'm conscious. I know that I should daven.
Mm-hmm.
And in my bank account, I've contemplated on this many times that I know that davening is a virtue and davening is something very special and davening is something that could really help me and is a wonderful thing to do. So I have that contemplation. I'm not in the mood.
Right, right.
Okay. But there is contemplation here. If not, it's in my bank account. If it's not presently contemplated a second. So what does Hashem do? Hashem takes the thought and attaches it to the action. And that's why you actually daven. We don't even realize, but that's the process of how it happened. Hashem came to your help.
When I'm feeling something and I'm doing it anyways, it's because I contemplated in the past and Hashem is doing that.
Yes.
Gashmi is so also, so that's why I'm wondering. It's not only in mitzvahs. You see,
It's
so
everything.
it's saying Hakadosh Baruch Hu Mitzvah, mitzvah, whatever it is, but it's not only for mitzvahs. You see it in the Gashmi world.
Well, I'm saying bad,
First
I'm
stuff
talking
on the
about.
floor. You know what I'm saying? And you're not, you know that it's the right thing to do. You don't want to have sticky floor. It's not good for your kids' upbringing not to skip homework. You know that. It's in your tuna, your Gashmi tuna.
Right. Just describing just the way that body works, like Hashem does our body.
No, she's saying not. You're saying that.
I'm
not the way
saying-
the body works.
It shouldn't happen.
Yeah, you're saying that
But
it's
that's
not.
good.
But really, you see it in Gashmi Sosa.
Maybe you say that it wouldn't
But
make
underneath
sense.
the Gashmis
but
is the
Hashem-
underlying.
Right.
Yes.
Not
Right.
homework, maybe finish homework.
You know, even that's homework. It's good for the child.
That's
to
their-
develop.
Your child. It's
Well, maybe that there is roughly.
Same thing with diet. I know I shouldn't be eating this. I'm going to gain weight, but I'm eating anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we said the last time we said that when I have a choice, okay, I want to just say one thing about that. It's not really fear about the floors, because when I have clean floors, I have pleasure from having clean floors.
Correct.
Okay. And I have pleasure when my house is organized. So ultimately, I am getting pleasure from it. What we did say last time was that if there's a choice between me getting pleasure or serving Hashem, pleasure is going to come first. If you have a choice between, believe it or not, if you have a choice between mopping your floor or davening, mopping the floor is going to come first unless you have the contemplation and Hashem helps you do the mitzvah.
Right.
So it's not so simple, Gashmius.
Like what's underneath that?
Right, because if the floor is dirty and then I'm going to be embarrassed, or if I didn't pick up the toys and someone's going to trip or whatever, then I know the consequence of what's going to be, and I want to avoid that pain. Okay, and pain and pleasure are both. So I'm saying also to avoid pain. Pain and pleasure are two sides of the same coin.
So, and the same thing with the homework, you could say.
Right.
You're aware of the consequence.
You're aware of the consequence, and I don't want to have that pain. I don't want to have that pain.
I don't want my kid not to know how to read.
Why do I understand that I should go to the dentist. I don't want to go. I don't have the emotion.
And this
Okay.
is not a Brooklyn bigger thing to dentist. So what
Right.
drugs you
But because I know that if I don't go,
so there
I'm
is-
going to have even
there's
more
freedom.
trouble. I'm going to be even more trouble. It's not going to be a cavity. It's going to be a root canal. Or if it's not a root canal, they're going to have to take the whole tooth
You
out.
say there is
So-
emotion, there's fear.
There's definitely fear.
There's emotion.
And yeah,
There's fear of something worse.
right. So yeah, we have to unpack the whole thing.
Good.
Unpack the whole thing. Look at the whole picture. Okay. But anyway, what were we saying? Okay.
Attaches the tefillah to the action.
Right. And if not for Hashem doing it, then it would be impossible for you to get the action done. But Hashem wouldn't come to your assistance and come and help you.
So you're saying that you needed tefuna, or so you need to have tefuna.
Yes. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Now, what happens if I do a mitzvah like a robot? There was no contemplation. I didn't even go to my bank account for contemplation. I kept Shabbos because I kept Shabbos for the past 45 years, and there was no contemplation involved. Let's say we're going to talk about that at the end. So there's two different cases. One case is when I have contemplation, I'm not in the mood. Hashem, if there was some thought process in the mix, then Hashem is going to link it to my action. If there was no thought process, I don't even know if that's possible, but if there wasn't, if it was by rote, then we're going to discuss that as well at the end.
When you take a drink, you make chocolate, you didn't
Yeah.
think about
Okay.
it.
It's
That's
that
the best
emotion.
idea. It's so by rote.
You're not connecting to
For
that. You just say the
many.
words and just you have to. Not because you didn't think about it. Just woke up in the morning and you wash your hands and
For me, my dad is that. You
Yeah,
know,
like
I
that.
open my eyes and then,
right. Right.
Okay.
Doesn't matter.
yeah.
This is what it means, machshava taiva. It doesn't mean a good intention. It means a good thought process. It's not love and fear actual love and fear, bezgalas liba, that's revealed in your heart. Ki im betvunas moicha v'telumas liba. It's hidden. It's hidden in your brain and in your heart. Ach tzeruv zeh, but this link, this linking the two together, mitzar v'kadosh baruch hu Hashem links it together in order, lehalos ma'isa mitzvahs, to make the mitzvah rise, ve'esek atayra, and your occupation in Torah, hanasim alidei machshava tayva niskaliil. What Hashem links it for what purpose? In order to make the mitzvah and the Torah that you learned, in order to make it rise, ad olam habriya, until the world of Bria. Okay, now we're going to stop.
Bria.
Ah, what's Bria? Okay. There are 4 worlds. The first world is Atzilus, which is the world that's closest to God. It comes from the word Eitzel, which means next to. Beneath that is the world Bria. Bria means creation. Beneath that is a world called Yetzira, which means formation. And beneath that is the world as we know it, is called Asiya, which means action.
The galaxies, all that still in Asiya, or that's like Bria?
Okay, excellent. When I say worlds, what do you think of?
Spiritual.
Even as soon as you say worlds,
The Milky Way.
you think of I'm going to get onto the spaceship. Where do souls go after 120?
Yeah.
We're going to go on a spaceship and we're going to go to who knows where, and we're going to find spiritual worlds. So what we have to do is, instead of saying the word worlds, we have to go back to Hebrew, not to modern day Hebrew, the Lashon HaKodesh, right? Because in Lashon HaKodesh, the letters that something is called are the letters that give it its life force. So whatever your name is, your Hebrew letters, that's the channel for how you get your life force at this current moment. So the word olam, what does it come from? Helem. What does helem mean? Hidden, concealment. What makes a world a world? The second there's another layer of concealment. That's the definition of a world. So each world, the higher you go, the more awareness you have. The lower you go, the more concealment there is. Now, this Rabbi Shishler said, it was one sentence, and for me, it was an incredible aha moment. Some people like to do this activity called people watching. You go to the mall or you go to wherever and you sit down and you watch people walking by, and you could, is this one looks happy, this one looks sad, whatever it is, right? Okay. Imagine you're sitting somewhere and you see a guy walking down the street. You don't even see his face because you just see his back, and he kicks a pebble. Do you know anything about that person?
Yes.
What do you know about him?
Well, it depends how strong he kicks the pepper.
No, you don't know anything about him.
You don't know anything about the person. He was walking down the street on Fifth Avenue in Manhattan, and his foot kicked the pebble.
Oh, just kick, not like.
No, it just a pebble was kicked. You know nothing about the person. That is the world that we live in. Hashem is the person in this mashal. All we see in this world is a pebble being kicked. We see God's artwork. We see an action. We just see an action, but we know nothing about Hashem in this physical world of Asiya. And that explains why we have no chayas. That explains why we have no excitement. Why everything is why things seem so dark. It's because this world is conceals God in such an unbelievable way that you see you don't have, there's zero understanding of what God does when we're in the world of Asiya. And that's why we struggle, and our children struggle, and everyone struggles, because all you see is a pebble being kicked. There's the concealment is that thick.
And that's what he says, when things don't make sense, that's what drives us crazy. So if we don't understand, it also makes us crazy.
And we don't,
Absolutely,
like,
and we don't.
So concealed.
In the world of Asiya, all we see is the action. If you go to an art museum and you see a beautiful painting, it's gorgeous. You could admire it from today to tomorrow, but you never met the painter. You never met the artist. All you see is the action. The person goes into nature and he says, "Oh, feel so connected to God." You're not. You're just experiencing God's action. You don't even you didn't even begin to understand the Creator. You're just enjoying His artwork.
Practice. I mean, like, maybe
Okay.
that's why we get so
So why
excited.
is it that we feel
practice.
connected?
It's really
Yeah.
academic
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
So when we feel our stuff
Way
about the
to
story, we
see
get
us,
very
yeah.
excited. Maybe we feel like a feeling.
Okay. So let's explain. So I'm going to do very, very broad strokes to explain the four worlds, and then
Is that part of this paragraph, Tanya, or that's just?
we're just stopping on the word bria. Okay. This is not the place where it's talking about the world, but we're just stopping to understand where our mitzvah is going. Yeah. Okay. Now, imagine you were able to go and meet the artist and see him at work and see how he mixes the colors and the strokes and this and that. Now, all of a sudden, your emotions start to work. Your emotions start to work, and you're excited and you appreciate, wow, look how talented this guy is. So the world up, one world up, is a world of formation. A world of formation means the raw material is already there, and you see how the artist is forming the painting. And over there, over there, it's the world of formation is also the world of emotion, because over there you're starting to get excited about Hashem and about the painting because you finally met him. And you're finally able to see, when you see how he's forming it, you're like, wow.
Understanding. Which is why.
But it's not understanding. It's not understanding. Understanding is one world up. You're seeing the formation of the art. Like if you go to a pottery class, okay, you're seeing a piece of clay and how it's formed, or glass blowing, or whatever.
When do you see that in this world? When do you see?
Okay, 1 minute. Okay, 1 second. Another example is poetry. The words are there already. You're not creating a new language, but you're forming the words into this order to make it rhyme. So when you see a person in action, you start getting an appreciation for the talent that they're using. One world up is the world of Bria. Bria is the world of clarity. Bria is the world of understanding. Bria is the world where God creates from nothing to something. Imagine where you could be in a place where you see God creating something from nothing. And at that point, you have all the clarity. You understand why Hashem did what he did. It's more than just forming. You're at the beginning of the process. You see Hashem creating something brand new from nothing. And over there, you have all the clarity and all the understanding. So if you did a mitzvah with some semblance of understanding, with your contemplation, as petty as it is, then Hashem is going to do you a favor and add value to your mitzvah and make it rise to the world or to the dimension of Bria.
So your action, not you, but your action gets out.
No, but even you did it from that place.
Yes,
Your mitzvah goes up over there.
yeah.
Not, your mitzvah was there, or it's like you're doing from that place.
So here it says, Ad olam habriya. Hashem attaches the machshava taiva to your action, kidei, in order to elevate the mitzvah and the Torah, which was done through a good thought process, as mentioned above, to the world of Bria.
For the action, Hashem is raising the action.
Yes. And hopefully with that, we also gain some kind of awareness in that process. And we did get an awareness because we did contemplate. So basically, you could have the same reality and different people experience it differently. The awareness and the experience is different for different people. For example, we're all here physically in person in a class. That's one experience of the reality of this particular class. Now, Mrs. Bender, who's on Zoom, is also experiencing this class, but it's one step removed because she's on Zoom. When you're on Zoom, you're not it's harder to interrupt. It's harder to ask your question for whatever reason.
And someone listening to it later is even more.
And if you listen to a recording, now it's even more removed because now if you have a question, you don't even have the ability to even ask for clarity. So we're all experiencing the same experience, but there's different dimensions. There's different dimensions of our experience. Right now, we're all sitting together. The most I could see is skin deep. But guess what? In reality, if there was an X-ray machine over here that was able to show everyone that we could see each other's skeletons, that's also a reality. Because the truth is that we're all sitting here, but we have a skeleton beneath our skin. It wouldn't be so comfortable to sit here and see everyone else's skeletons and the blood flowing through your veins, right? So sometimes there is a layer of concealment, which is a good thing. In the case of people, the fact that we're able to put on clothing and that's actually a good thing of concealment. So sometimes concealment is a good thing, or like the sun. Right? So if the sun, if you have direct sunlight, it's not safe. You need sunglasses or you need a visor in your car rather than the sun being directly into your car. You can't drive. So I'm saying sometimes concealment is good. If you have if you have a student and a teacher, and the teacher is just going to teach the kids how she understands without bringing it down, there has to be filters, right? So sometimes filters are good. But in the case of our relationship with Hashem, filters are not so good. Because every time there's another world, another concealment, it's harder for us to understand, to feel, to do the right thing.
But it also gives reach.
Yes.
Tuna or meditation or complete contemplation, bring them to Bria, or we're always in Asiya, and it is what it is.
Oh, okay, excellent question. Okay, so first of all, within each world are all the worlds. So within Atzilus,
Well, one of them's living on a higher plane.
Let's say a tzaddik, or just even a very spiritually connected person, they're still in Asiya.
so you could within Asiya, there's also Atzilus of Asiya. There's Bria of Asiya.
And each
There's-
level has millions of
yeah.
degrees.
We mean, every day, like we do, we say,
We just think like we live here, you know what I mean?
no, it's like, it's not the physical world, it's like in us, within us, the understanding of the world.
Not the
All this stuff
physical
you're
world,
saying
not,
is that, this is the way we
Let's
understand
make
the
it
world,
every
you're saying.
tree,
It's not like,
never know.
everybody has their own world, you're saying, levels in the world.
We understand physically, so we're thinking of the world.
You
so
say
it's not
sometimes you
physical,
could be in a
it's
different part of
spiritual.
this world.
So yes, we could fluctuate to different parts. Okay, we could have different experiences.
It's like
We could have. Okay, so let's talk about that. Okay, here we go. See. In the olden days, they had a horse and wagon, a horse and buggy. So a horse and buggy and a bunch of Hasidim, and they're traveling to the Rebbe, and they're discussing Hasidus and and the questions that they have in Hasidus that they're going to ask the Rebbe. They're talking about angels. They're talking about all kinds of spiritual stuff. That's the Hasidim in the wagon. Then you have the wagon driver, who's hired to take them to their destination. What's he thinking about? The money that he's going to get paid, and then he's going to take the money. He's going to go to the bar, and he's going to buy himself some whiskey to drink. And then you have the horse. Why is the horse taking the journey? Because the horse knows that at the end of the journey he's going to get some hay. So who's right?
Oh,
They're all living in their. Each one is living in their reality. They're all in the same space. So we could both be in the same space, and one person is an Atzilus, and the other person is an Asiya. Atzilus of Asiya, wherever you are, the more awareness you have, the higher you are. So we're I'm saying, we don't have the ability to define each person where they are exactly, but in general,
Fluctuates by moment.
yes, yes. For example, how is it that you come to a Rebbe, right? And the Rebbe could know so much about you and remember that you sent him a letter 20 years ago, or because a Rebbe has a higher level of awareness. They see right through your soul. There was a woman who the Rebbe would stand for many, many hours on Sunday distributing dollars. And Rebbe was well into his 80s, 90s, even 90s, standing on his feet and distributing dollars. And an elderly lady came to the Rebbe and she said, Lubavitcher Rebbe, how do you have the strength to stand for so many hours, 6, 7 hours, stand on your feet and at least sit down and distribute dollars? So he said, when you're counting diamonds, you don't get tired. So the Rebbe had an awareness where he saw that every person passing by, he didn't see their flaws. Right? He saw this conversation that we had in the car.
You can see my sins.
Maybe he did see it, but he didn't focus on this on it.
He saw your
Or he saw the bigger
potential.
picture.
He saw your potential. He saw your mission because he had a higher sense of awareness, while we're just seeing a pebble fly. Now, as Jewish people, just our whole existence is above nature. The fact that we exist as a people is above nature. So as Jewish people, we have the ability to rise above everything. There's a parable in the olden days. If you couldn't pay your rent, the Jewish people weren't allowed to own land, but they would rent from the landlord a hotel or whatever it is. If you couldn't pay your rent, they would throw them into the dungeon. So imagine this couple gets thrown into the dungeon and a baby is born in the dungeon. And the baby grows up and baby sees every single day a basket is lowered with bread and water. But the baby has no idea, the toddler has no idea that there's anything beyond the dungeon and the bread and the water. The bread and water is great. He can't wait for the bread and water to be lowered every day. No concept that there's a sun, there's a sky, there's grass, there's trees. He never saw any of it. So when we're in the world of Asiya, we're in a dungeon. We just see the bread and the water being lowered down, and we have no idea where it's coming from. We don't attribute that where it's coming from. But we could choose to have a higher level of awareness and to climb out and to realize that there's more to this world than what meets the eye. And there's things that are more important. There's things that are more important than my little, what's going around me. And someone asked me a question this week. They said, if I have a choice, should I daven? I wasn't going to say that. Okay. If I have it, do you mind?
No.
Okay, then. If I have a choice, should I either I could daven the whole davening or a big part of the davening and say the words, but I'm not going to have time to concentrate on them because I'm saying the words. I'm trying to cover ground, or say less words and have more concentration. So it's a very valid question. But all of a sudden, if you have a higher level of awareness, you stop for a second and you say, you know what? The most important thing that I could do today is take the time to daven to Hashem. That is my priority. And once I have that connection, that's all I need, because everything else is nothing. There's nothing other than God. Going to a higher place, and realizing that there's more to life than money and honor and a clean house and whatever. That the most important thing is Hashem. And it's true that at 4:30, when my kids walk through the door and it's already 5 minutes after Shkia, I'm not gonna have time to daven. But if I plan my day around the davening, that's the most important thing, and it doesn't become a question. You know, it's not, I'm not bartering with God how many minutes I'm going to give you today and how much concentration I'm going to put in. It's a whole different story. And when I heard this, what Rosh Hashanah said, that this world, all you see is a pebble being kicked. I don't know, it touched a deep core. And I said, well, if that's the case, I'm going to sit down and daven. Now, in my life, I never davened for so long. I davened from this time I davened from the beginning till the Ach Tzadikim, till the end. And for the first time in my life, I davened for an hour and a half, crying. I never in my life did I cry when I daven. And you know why I was crying? I was crying for all the people that don't have Tanya. And you know, they do have Tanya, to have this understanding, that there's more than just this world. That we're in a dungeon, there's more than this. And that was my top priority. Two things happened. While I was davening, I timed my davening exactly 11:30 because my two boys had a dentist cleaning appointment that day. And my husband was taking them because they go to the dentist near their school, so they shouldn't have to miss school. Thank God. He takes them because I wouldn't be able to handle it. And a miracle happened. While I'm davening, my husband sends me a text. He says, Chani, we're done at the dentist. No cavities. Now that is a miracle above nature. So that with the amount of candy that these kids get, and we have a candy man in our show. And I don't have the heart to tell him, but besides for all the candy that he gives to the kids in shul, we have a program, like a kids program, and he brings candy for the kids program. It's whatever. I try so many times to say in a very gentle way that we really appreciate your love, but whatever, it's a little bit much. And then sometimes the kids, whatever, there's a lot of candy going on, especially on Shabbos. But anyway, that was one thing. The other thing is, Tuesday, I don't have any classes. So Tuesday, I could stick in my ears the earpiece. I could listen to shiurim, but I don't have to go anywhere. So Tuesday is the day that I could concentrate on cleaning up, whatever it is. Now I feel like I'm a time ticking bomb. I have 3 more months, and that's it. So I want to declutter my basement. This is the time that I have. So what did I do after I davened? I dragged up. So I went to the basement. In my basement, there is stuff from 15 years worth of stuff. 90% is not anything that I ever purchased. It's stuff that other people, when they moved, they deposited into our basement because they were moving. I don't know. And not only that, addition to that, there's a huge Aron Kodesh, huge. It's broken down. That there was an old shul 15 years ago that was closing down somewhere in New York, and so they were looking for a home for the Aron Kodesh. So a few guys from our community, they went down to the shul and they brought this huge Aron Kodesh and they put it into our basement. In the meantime, we made our own Aron Kodesh, and it's sitting there for 15 years. Huge thing. This Aron Kodesh is as big as this table in length. We have a 1,500 square foot basement, which is completely and totally covered with stuff.
They're not yours.
That are not mine. Everything goes to the basement. And every time there's an event, a Hanukkah event, another kind of menorah, a Lego menorah, a bowling pin menorah, everything else that ever existed is in the basement. So I'm trying to declutter. So what would I do if I wasn't davening for an hour and a half? Usually I would daven for half an hour. I'd be decluttering. So what did I do? We just went to the basement. We realized that we have to do something here. And so my husband pointed out, we discussed what could go. So from the whole basement, there's only 2 things I possibly could carry. There's this big wooden stender and this glass table, like a coffee table. That's also been there forever. So I'm huffing and puffing, dragging these. First, I drag the stender upstairs, because whatever's on the porch, my husband will take to the dump. He wasn't home, and I'm like, I have to make some kind of movement, that some dent, whatever. So I take a picture of the two items and I put it on WhatsApp. Does anyone want it? So a lady reached out to me. No one wanted the stender. A lady reached out to me about the table. She says, well, if no one else wants it, I'll ask my workers if they want it. I said, sure, no problem. 2 seconds later, says, yes, my worker wants it. I said, great. By the way, does he also want an oven and a kitchen table? So she said, so she said, take pictures. I went down to his and took pictures. Yes, he wants it. So then I took pictures of the Aron Kodesh, and also when we moved to this house, the garage is a shul now. But it was this guy was a hunter, and he would prepare meat in the garage. So there was a counter and there was cabinets and there was who knows what, and all that, it's in the basement. I said, take a picture of that. I was like, what do you want that? He says, yes, I want everything. He actually came today at 7 a.m. with a truck. He only took what he was able to carry by himself. And he took the stender and the coffee table and the other kitchen table. And he said on Sunday he's going to come with his friends and he's going to take the Aron Kodesh. I said, is that
Jewish worker?
no?
What's he doing?
It's wood. It's old wood. It's good.
Is there is Tashmishe Kedusha at all?
I have no idea, but trust me, it's not doing anything good in the basement.
Yeah,
So anyway, here I am, right, with a higher level of awareness. Yes, the basement is waiting for me to do, I don't know what, because it's not very, I mean, how much could I possibly do down there? Of course, there's plenty for me to do. Don't worry. There's plenty of boxes and stuff that's also mine. But I'm saying a lot of, there's a lot of stuff that really has to go. But here I went to a higher level of awareness. I said, you know what? Hashem comes first before the basement. And look what Hashem did for me. When we had other couches, when we got this couch, we got rid of other couches, and we had to pay $300 to a junk removal place to remove 2 couches. The amount of money that it would cost me for someone to take all this stuff out, it would be who knows what, and to get a dumpster is also who knows what. And I said, is $100 a good tip good enough, like to get rid of this stuff? And he was so happy. He's like, of course, maybe it's Eliyahu Hanavi. He came in. He when he came this morning, he was dressed like he was going to work, like a button-down shirt and dress pants. Like he didn't look like just like any guy. I also thought that he came in a nice truck. I have no clue. Maybe it's Eliyahu Hanavi. I don't know. But the point is, it probably is, right?
It says the time that you used for tefillah is, you'll never lose out on your day from it. You wouldn't by the light, by the elevator, for this phone call. He says that you're guaranteed you will not lose any time in your day from time spent with tefillah.
So that just proved it. It would take me a lifetime to take a hammer and break that thing down, put it out piece by piece. And there's a big, huge like a bima, whatever. I can't even tell you what's in there. But so he said Sunday is going to come. He said he's going to take everything.
Crazy.
That's crazy, right? So what I'm telling you is, when you go to a higher level of awareness, and as Jewish people, that is our mandate. As a matter of fact, where do you see the proof of it? Kosher. What does it mean? A kosher animal is an animal that chews its cud and has split hooves. Does anyone know what that means, an animal has split hooves? It means that the animal's foot is not directly on the ground. There's a hoof in between. A yid always has to be a tefach hecher. You always have to live higher. We don't have to subject ourselves to be in a world to just see the pebble being kicked. We could see higher. We could have more awareness. Motzei Shabbos, I was listening to Rabbi Mendel Mintz from Meaningful, help me out, whatever. Meaningful podcast, yeah, whatever it was. And such a sad story. He was born handicapped, and his wife had her issue, very, very short, dwarfism. And they finally got married. They were married for 2 years, and they wanted to have children. And they were at the last stage of IVF, and she went into the hospital for the last thing. And this was not only were they expecting to have a baby, they were actually going to even move on shlichus. And she's not from a Chabad family whatsoever. She was going to go fulfill this dream of her husband and go on shlichus to a place outside of Baltimore. Anyway, within a few days, She passed away.
Got a reaction to something.
Yeah. And he left the hospital with no wife, no baby, and no shluchas. So you hear that, and that's how the episode ends. And you're just in tears. And that was it. The next day, all of a sudden, there was a campaign. They're raising $2.3 million to build a library. Miriam's, and she was a teacher, and everyone loved her, to build a $2.3 million library in Baltimore to service the community and for her legacy, whatever it is. I was like, it took me a second. I was like, wow, another person, he had a higher sense of awareness to realize that although this is senseless in the world of Asiya, but to go to a higher world, or to a world of Bria, to a world of Yetzira, to go somewhere higher, where do you get the strength? Where do you get the strength? Instead of saying, Hashem, I'm done with you. Look what you did to me. You created me in a way that I don't even, that he was disabled from birth, always in a wheelchair from when he was born. Doesn't even know what a regular life is. You took away my wife. You took away everything. I'm done with you. I'm done with you. But rather, where do you get the kayach? Where do you get the kayach to start raising $2.3 million for a building? It could only come from a place of a higher awareness, where you acknowledge and you say, God, you created me, you created her, you created this. There was a fluke that she had this crazy reaction. It didn't make any sense. But there's a higher awareness, there's a higher mission, there's a higher purpose. You have to rise higher. When Gabi and Rifki Holtzberg were murdered in Mumbai. Really, that's right. I know. It was yes. It was by the Kinos. Oh my gosh. Okay, I don't know where that came from.
That's where it came from.
Wow.
I was engaged.
I don't know exactly, I was last pregnant.
2008. It was in 2008.
That's what it said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember where I was when we were davening.
So scary.
So I remember then it was so senseless. Like, how could it be possible that the Chabad Shluchim, and thank you for coming. It just seemed, it was whatever. Like, and everyone davened and everything. And I think it was Rabbi Y.Y. Jacobson that said, he said, we all come down here on this earth, 120 years. And we make our impact, and we influence people, and we've learned Torah and do mitzvahs, and we could accomplish whatever it is, however much we could accomplish. Some people in their short life could accomplish 1,000,000 times more than we could accomplish in 120 years. How much davening, how much tehillim, how many Shabbos candles, how many mitzvahs, how much tefillin was done for their Yeshua. So we just see the pebble being kicked. That's it. We don't understand anything. There's so much concealment. We don't get it. And we should only see as revealed good. But we have to know that there's more than just this world. And that's what gives us chayis. That's what gives us chayis. To understand that what I see with my eyes is not the end of the story. There's another Derin, Rifki Derin. She also passed. She was married for a short time, and she also passed away. She also was born with a, with a condition, and she was in the hospital for many times. And she always said, in the end, it's going to be good, and if it's not good, then it's not the end. So we have to know that there's more. There's more to what we see. And to me, opening up a siddur and davening, I'm like, does Hashem really hear me? Does Hashem really care? But there's more. There's more because we're in a world of concealment. When you take the 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it is, and you daven, you're accomplishing huge things. Huge things. You don't see what you're accomplishing.
Doesn't feel like it.
Doesn't feel like it. But there's more than what you could see. We're in the dungeon. We have no idea what we're accomplishing, what a mitzvah does, what tzedakah does. We don't know. But at least if we have the tvuna to appreciate, to understand that there's more than just this world. This is the bottom of everything. And even in Asiya, even when we're in this physical world, and Asiya is also a spiritual world. Because there really are four spiritual worlds, but there's spiritual worlds, and then there's the four spiritual worlds, and then there's the physical world. which because it's all Hasidic Shtalshalos, it's all a chain-like descent. So you have to have a spiritual world of Asiya in order to have a physical world of Asiya. But whatever the case is, we have the power, and it's all over here. You choose your level of awareness, and the awareness is going to come from contemplation. And the more contemplation you have, the more love and fear, maybe either Hashem will have to attach it to the action, or Taka will start developing a true love and fear. But it's up to us where we want to live, how we want to perceive things, which dimension am I in, which reality am I in. It's a choice. It's a choice. We especially as frum people who have the privilege of learning Tanya, and I've been born into this, and this is brand new to me. This concept is still brand new to me, and it's just Ashreinu that we have this treasure, and we have to realize that the muscle of the chicken fat or the onions, right? The guy's very, very poor, and he finds out that there's a distant country where the roads are paved with diamonds. The only problem is that there's a boat that goes there only once in 10 years. So he says goodbye to his family and he goes there. And he comes to this, it's a parable. And he comes to this place, and it's true. There's diamonds all over the floor. And he goes into a restaurant, orders a 10-course meal. It comes time to pay. And he says, okay, how many diamonds do you want? I'll take it out of my pocket. I'll go outside. He said, no. The currency here is chicken fat. Go to the back and start washing dishes. And he has success shines on him. And by the time 10 years are over, he has 3 boatloads full of chicken fat. And he comes back home, and everyone runs away from the port because it stinks so bad. And his wife says, what did you bring home? Chicken fat? This is what you went for? Dump it in the ocean. No one wants chicken fat. We want the diamonds. And luckily, he had a few diamonds in his pocket from the first day that he was there. We have to realize that what we see, it's just Hashem is hidden. We're here for diamonds. We're not here for chicken fat. We're not here. We think that we're here for a good steak. That's not what we're here for. We're here for diamonds. We have to remember that not to get lost by what our physical eyes see, but to have an awareness to be able to look deeper and to see and to see the truth.
It's so hard, and my question a little bit still remains, because we're living in such a Asiya, and I have to make Shabbos, and my kids are coming from school. It's true. If it would be more awareness, I would probably find more time.
It's a process. It's not going to happen in one day like this. But so I'm saying, we come to a class, we hear it, we marinate in it, we discuss it, you journal it, talk about it, think about it, and if it gives you one more ounce of awareness, and it's a life, it's a life's work. It's not something that's gonna happen in one day. There's a story of
while he was in that country, he did need chicken fat to survive. He should have been accumulating diamonds, but he did need chicken fat. We do live in a physical
yes,
world.
you're right.
You're
You're right, 100%, 100%. So yes, we are. We have to live here on this earth. So yes, there is that balance. But at the end of the day, you have to know.
It's also
what the
living
focus is.
like the Hashgacha Pratis and Hashem into the Asiya. That is what
It's
Hashem
also
does.
true, even with
It's like-
regular stuff.
It's like child comes home, and you recognize in the moment Hashem, whatever it is, you bus came on time, whatever.
When you're cooking for Shabbos or whatever you do.
Hashem into the Asiya. that
Mental
allows you
lens. What struck me was how he was willing to share how vulnerable he
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
and what he felt.
Yeah.
And when you share that with Hashem, that really cements your relationship with Hashem. Tell Hashem how you feel. Don't hold back. Make him your friend, your confidant, your everything. And then you can talk about him. You have to share everything.
I was just listening to Ephraim Goldberg, who was just saying that like screaming or saying, I'm done with yours, or being angry is another form of emunah. It means you trust him and you believe he's the one orchestrating.
Right.
Like it's not a.
Someone told me about your thing about stabbing. She's also telling me, but then her husband is like someone that's also a speaker, whatever. And he was like, wake up early in the morning, meaning you could get up if it was so important. If you really want to concentrate,
The more it's a
if you
priority.
really want,
Today.
he's like, get up early in the morning before the kids up and daven.
Some can.
But I'm saying that.
No, but if you won't be getting up early, but
Right.
when it's a priority,
You go up to
I
the
play
gym,
basketball,
get to
I'll
the-
never miss it.
Right.
I broke my finger, I still played.
Right. It's
Right.
it's true. If it's so important, like really, I also can't do it. And she gets up early in the morning. She has a bunch of kids also, and she davens in the morning. Because it's
It's
like
a
they're saying,
priority.
if you really contemplate on what the point is and you really connect, you make it's the most important thing of the day.
Right.
Like, so you get up earlier, and she
But I'm
does it.
definitely still in the stage of Tuna.
I also don't. I'm like,
feel
does
the
it.
fiery
And that's
desire.
okay, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
normal.
I'm not saying I also don't do it. I'm like, amazed she does that. I'm like, wow, like she
No,
really.
I don't feel like maybe I'll do it if I need to, but I don't feel like that.
I have a
Like
comment.
you felt like you had emotion, you down. Like I was
that-
I'm
That was a
very-
lot.
Yeah.
No,
Yes.
no.
Very,
And,
very
and the next day I wasn't able to
Right.
create that same emotion. It's not, it's a
It
gift.
was
I
like,
think it's work. Like, I once read like it has to be work. Like you have to put work into it. Like
you have to do
really-
Tuna.
it's
Do
really
contemplation.
working. Like I have a daughter that does it, and it's. But like I once read like one of these books also about how to have cup. It's a work in progress. You have to keep on working with a contemplation. It doesn't happen like this.
Yeah.
It has to be a build up to get that place.
And it makes sense. We have to be kind to ourselves and understand that in this world, we don't see everything. There's a story about Yeshua ben Levi. He merited to pray very hard and he merited to see Eliyahu Navi. And he asked Eliyahu Navi, can I please travel with you? And Eliyahu Navi said, it's not a good idea because what you're going to see is not going to make sense to you. He said, please, please, please. Eliyahu Navi said, okay, but once you ask me questions, that's it. We're going to have to part ways. And there were 4 instances. They're traveling, and they go to an elderly couple's house to rest, to sleep for the night. And the couple was so nice to them. On the way out, Eliyahu Navi whispers something into the cow's ear, and the cow drops dead. Second situation, they go to another place to spend the night. This guy's a miser, acts disgusting, is not nice to them at all. And the room that they're staying, or the house, whatever, there was a big crack in the wall. As they're leaving, Eliyahu Navi says, whispers something, and the wall gets fixed by itself. He's thinking to himself, let the guy pay to fix the house. Like, what does he deserve this for? Third place, the people were very nice, and he said, as he's leaving, there should only be one leader amongst you. In the fourth place, he said they were very, very mean, and he said, you should all become leaders. At this point, Rabbi Shimon Levi couldn't handle it anymore. He's like, tell me what's going on. So he said, the first instance, the couple was very, very nice. And the couple was very, very nice. And he had an awareness that the wife was meant to die that day. He said, let the cow die instead, and Hashem will provide for them. The second place, the miser, there was a treasure hidden behind the wall. He didn't want him to discover it. The third place, to have one leader, that's a blessing. Because to have everyone a leader, that just causes a lot of fights. So we just see the cow died. How is that? You see a good person, and how could Hashem do that to them? We just see the people being kicked. We don't see more than that. If we were to see more than that, and we were to see how every mitzvah that we do, the reward that we get, then of course it would be a no-brainer. I'll spend 6 hours davening. But we don't see it. That's the struggle of living on this world. The oilam is helem, more and more concealment and filters and blocking. But we have to still not be afraid of this world. And I think that's where the power of shluchim come. That where does we get the chutzpah to move to some country, open a Chabad house, 0 salary? Where does it come from? Where does it come from? It comes from a place of that you realize that there's the purpose for this world, and there's a mission, and by you going to wherever it is, Tom's River, Iceland, China, wherever it is, that this is why Hashem created the world, and so of course you're going to be successful. It has to come from a place of higher awareness, and I think that every time we do a mitzvah, Hashem is inviting us. Hashem is inviting us to step out of the mud. He's inviting us to have a heightened sense of awareness, because when you choose to do a mitzvah, you're obviously aware of Hashem. The last thing I'll end off with is there's a story of the Frierdiker Rebbe. The Frierdiker Rebbe, the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, he was arrested in Russia for his counter-revolutionary activities of spreading Yiddishkeit, and there was libels against him. He was collecting money to send to Eretz Yisrael for poor people. And they said that he was collecting money to give to the Turks to fight the Russians, whatever it is. Anyway, they wanted him to speak. They wanted him to say whatever they wanted him to say, and he wasn't cooperating. The Frierdiker Rebbe, even when the rule is that when they're giving you a verdict or whatever it is, then you have to stand. He never stood, even when they beat him. And even when they wanted to give him the verdict tell him that he's going to be released, he refused to stand. He made a decision that he's going to show them that they're not the boss. And to the KGB guy, he pulls out a gun. He says, "This toy makes people talk." So the Frierdiker Rebbe said to him, he said, "This toy makes people talk, people that have one world and two gods. But I have two worlds and one God. So this toy doesn't scare me. To live in this world and to realize that there's more than this world and to realize our infinite potential and to realize our mission and to realize how lucky we are to have the light and to share the light and to rise above it. And we don't, to get more and more awareness. My daughter comes home from school and she said, she's complaining there was a substitute, the kids weren't behaving. So I said to her, I said to her that the year that I got engaged and got married and the year after, I taught in Beis Rivka in Crown Heights. I taught for 2 years. It was a complete disaster because I had zero discipline. And I worked very, very hard on my lessons because that's the only thing that I had going for me. And there were a few kids that listened, but it was crazy. I had to work really, really hard just to I had to be so exciting to get the kids involved because the punishment wasn't working. Anyway, these kids were 10. They were in 5th grade. 10 years later, I was at my brother's l'chaim at his engagement party. And my students were friends of the Kala. A whole group of them came over to me and they said, "We want to apologize for how we acted in your class because now we're teachers and we see what it feels like." So what am I saying? But still, even amongst the 10-year-olds, there were some kids that had the awareness that running around the classroom and playing ball in the middle of class is not really, the proper way to behave, and that this is not okay. And it shouldn't take us 10 years to have the awareness, but rather we have the awareness. We have the awareness. We're the 10-year-olds in the class and I realize that this is not okay. That by misbehaving, we're wasting our time and the teacher's time and making the teacher feel bad and wasting everyone else's time. So we have the awareness because we're in this room right now. And our job is to share that awareness with others and to live to live in a higher dimension. And this higher dimension, this is what it means, Mashiach. You want to know what Mashiach means? Mashiach means that we're all going to have the highest level of awareness of the greatness of Hashem. That's Mashiach. When all the concealment will be gone. That's what Mashiach means. Yeah, we're going to have the clarity, and I don't know exactly what's going to be, but basically what's going to happen is when Mashiach comes, we're going to have the awareness. And this connects, this connects to the parsha, because I know some people want a parsha connection. This week's parsha is called Parshas Toldos. Toldos means children. So you could have spiritual children and you could have physical children and spiritual children. What's a spiritual child? Someone, if you teach someone, then they become your spiritual child. So if you compare Avram and Yitzchak, Abraham, he was the one, he went out to the world and proclaimed the oneness of God, while Yitzchak, he wasn't allowed to leave the Holy Land. He was like a sacrifice. He was sacrificed by the Akedah. He was ready to be a sacrifice. So he was very, very holy and he could never leave Israel. He could never leave the Holy Land. So Yitzchak was the guy that sat and learned Torah all day. He didn't go out to the world. So why is a Torah portion that's primarily talking about Yitzchak called Toldos, children? What children? He wasn't the one that was going out there to do miftzayim and to going on shluchas and going out all over the world to teach Judaism. He sat in his house and learned Torah. So why is the parsha that's all about Yitzchak? Why is that called Toldos? Because the name of the parsha is referencing the theme of the parsha. So the answer is that the difference between Avram and Yitzchak is Avraham made people. Yitzchak made children. What's the difference between a person and a child? A person, I could go on Tzayim, I could go out there, give someone Shabbos candles, and they still stay in their space. I come down to their space, I give them Shabbos candles, but they light the Shabbos candles, they're beautiful, but they still stay in their space. What's a child? A child is someone who looks like the father, who copies the father. Then you have a case where you interact with somebody, you meet someone, and they say, I want to be just like you.